Josh Raven here with the Daily Dot at ELEAGUE in Atlanta, joined by Spunj from Renegades, coming off the back of a win against Cloud9. Kind of a win, a tie, I guess you'd call it. But we will talk about that game. But you know what I'm going to bring up. Yesterday, against Luminosity, it was a bit of a disaster. Can you explain what happened there, Spunj?
We played terribly and got embarrassed. Luminosity are a beast of a team, and they're going to pummel anybody, and it looked like they took most matches convincingly. But to lose 16-0 is very embarrassing and very upsetting, and that's the second time they've done it to us. So it's not excusable, and hopefully it puts a bit of fire in the belly of the guys going forward, and we can not get 16-0 again. Maybe, hopefully.
Was it particularly surprising how strong they were after, considering you took them to overtime in the map before?
No, I think we have an issue with consistency and playing consistent Counter-Strike. We showed it starting on Train just then again versus Cloud9. That was just shit as well. We need to fix it. I think me as the leader of the team and the captain and stuff, I need to kind of put a bit more fire in the belly of the guys and get us more G'd up. Sometimes we just let rounds go by and it doesn't seem like we're fully in them, which is just a mental thing. But we need to look into fixing that. I think, the first 6 to 7 rounds of that match, the Train game, were actually really close. We almost ecoed them 2 or 3 times, and we just made stupid mistakes and couldn't close them out. And then after that, they just blew us out of the water. So it's our own fault, and they're a great team. So what do you do? Well,
fortunately, in part thanks to a Team Liquid meltdown, apparently, and your win today against Cloud9 means you will not be facing Luminosity in the semi-finals. You've got another matchup against Cloud9, obviously tied today. Looking forward, people might paint Cloud9 as the favourites, but do you think you've got a pretty good chance of coming out on top of them, or do you think it's going to be a bit of a rough game?
I think I'd paint Cloud9 as the favourites still. They've beaten us in the times that it's mattered, like the MLG qualifier. They broke our hearts there. And stuff like that, so they might have that edge over us in the sense that they have been beating us more than we've beaten them, and we've always struggled with them stylistically. It seems like things have changed a little bit in the way they address the game with Slemmy, so hopefully tomorrow we can just come and just start strong and finish strong, and that's going to be our main thing, just making sure we start strong, I think.
Do you feel kind of like when Renegades first came to North America, a lot of people liked you guys coming in, but now obviously there's been a few dramas happening, interview statements taken wrongly and spun around. Do you kind of feel like the enemy of North American fans now? Like a lot of people kind of painting you as the bad guys. Does that bother you at all, or are you just kind of getting over it?
Well, it's really hard. I struggled with it really bad after the MLG loss. And I think it's kind of fair for them to paint me as the enemy, but I don't think it's exclusively NA fans. People in Australia hate me, people in Europe hate me, people everywhere hate me. I just have to deal with it, and it's hard. Some days I wake up and I'm just like, this is shit. I just don't want to deal with it, and that's why I deactivated social media. I used to think I was a mentally strong human being, but I proved to myself that I'm not. And it's fair actually. Some of the things which I said weren't meant to be said because look how good I am. It was look how good it is and how good it can be. And I genuinely think the NA scene gets too much flack now than it actually deserves, competing in it and seeing how well the teams have kind of been performing. You see these good performances from CLG, from Liquid with Simple. Cloud9 had the summer last year, and Counter-Strike is a game that's been around as a title for a very long time, and NA has always kind of been on the back foot. So I think there's lots of talent in NA. I think that they're definitely a good region, and hopefully you can see more out of them this year and going to next year see even better stuff. But yeah, I don't want to be the enemy anymore. So I don't think I can fix it, but I don't want to be a bad guy anymore. And I apologise for even causing people angst against me.
Do you think it affected your play, or does it still affect your play in any way, or?
I think it just affects my mood of the day. I guess I block it out a lot more than what I was able to in the past, so it's not really a huge factor anymore. But it's still there in the back of my mind. I'm a human being. People saying mean things gets to me. The saying "sticks and stones may break my bones, words will never hurt me" is not actually true. Words hurt a shitload. So especially when they resonate in some ways. I'm getting older, I start to think about certain things, and when I'm not performing so well and people are saying fucking kill yourself or quit or all this kind of stuff, it does get to you, but I'll get over it.
Okay, well, moving on to perhaps more positive things. I remember a little story about Gfinity about a year ago. You coming into the press room and saying, "I'm just a plumber." Now you're playing in the Turner Studios for ELEAGUE, possibly on TV on Friday. How does this feel for you? How is ELEAGUE going for you? Do you think it's one of the better run tournaments? Are you enjoying the studio life here?
Yeah, this is one of the best tournaments. This is the best tournament that I've ever been to in terms of the way that they treat the players, how everything's set up, the way that it all runs. You know, you don't feel... there's a little bit of rush. That makes sense. It's the same with every event. But you feel like they're looking out for you and they want the best for you as the players. And that will mean the best tournament. And so far, that's been it. And I'm loving it so far.